Hi, I'm going to shoot a very quick demo of how you're going to do your Create Crit for Unit 1.1 Human Number Line. Now, there are three kinds of card sets that I think that you should consider. You can first do the N 1.1 card set. Now, in 1.1, if you remember, was rational versus irrational. So your team is going to have a list of cards that half will be rational and the other half will be irrational. Now, to make your set of rational irrational numbers, the rational side's pretty easy. Now, being the teacher, I can knock these out really fast. Any fraction, and I can write a whole bunch of fraction, okay? Any fraction would work. Any decimal would work. Okay? Any decimal that has a repeating number can work. Okay? Any integer would work. Okay? Many square roots would work, because when you use your calculator and you take the square root of 25, it's going to equal 5. So of course that would be a rational number. And altogether I would need about 15 of these. The irrational numbers would be a little more difficult maybe for a student. You would have the obvious one of pi, but then you would also have the square roots of all the numbers that are not perfect squares, that the numbers would run off, and when you put them in the calculator they would not turn into a rational number. So you could come up with quite a few of those. You could also come up with numbers that have no pattern or ending decimal, that have no sense of repeating or anything, and then you could end it with dot 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 to signify that the numbers would just continue and not end. The actual pi, 3.141596, that would continue and be 1. So you can come up with a bunch of square roots that are not perfect squares, or end with a, when they come out, they're a rational number, and then a bunch of things like this. Again, if you did 15 of each, that would be your set of 30. Another thing that you can do would be for N 1.2. That was our human number line. So I would have one person come up with 10 fractions, one person come up with 10 decimals, and one person come up with 10%. And the easiest way would be perhaps to come up with fractions. Maybe if you came up with 5 fractions, like 3/8, 1/3, 5/9, 7/12, even 1/2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If all I wanted to do was turn around and repeat these with a negative, then you would be done. Okay? Try to keep your fractions with denominators of halves, thirds, fourths, fifths, sixths, eighths, tens, and twelfths. I mean, you can do ninths and sevenths if you want, but only have the denominators go up to 12. Okay? So those would be your fractions. Decimals would be easy. Be sure you include some that have like a 0, but some that might have this, especially if you wanted to maybe move the decimal but keep the same numbers, make the kids really think. And then percents could be the same way. Finally, the last one would be in 1.3, and that is where you had equivalencies. And so basically what you could do is come up with your FDP chart, right? So you could use your FDP chart for your interactive notebook and come up with matching fractions, decimals, and percents. And you can have like a 3 corners game, where you could have like 1/2, and then another kid would get a card that had 0.5, and then the third kid would have a card that said 50%, and they have to get into a group. I guess it would be pairing up. And so you can do 10 of these, and that would give you a total of 30 cards. You could also do 4 corners where you just had fractions, like 1/3, 2/6, 3/9, and 4/12. And these 4 cards would have to find each other. Okay? And if you wanted to, if you did 4 corners and you were doing 30 cards, you need 7 or 8 of these. So you would have to continue with 5/15, 6/18, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7/21, and then you could even do like 8/24. So if you did 7 or 8, you can do 3 or 4 corners that would have all of those cards. Once you have this planned out on paper, bring it to a teacher and we will check it. Then is the fun part. Then you're going to get a set of index cards, and you actually get to make the index cards. You want to make sure you use your best writing, and you don't want to use different colors unless you're all using different colors, because you don't want kids to say, oh, all the blue cards go together and then all the red cards go together. So you're going to want to try to use one color, and then you would make the cards. And so you might want to add a simple detail to your card. You might just want to put like your guys's, maybe you can come up with some kind of an icon and say, oh, this little leafy vine represents my team, and we're going to put that on the corner of all of our cards. If you don't want to, you don't have to. You can notice that I've never had those kind of details on mine, but it depends on how fancy you want to get. You could even go back and later add a little color and color in the little leafy parts to make it look a little bit nicer. That's way everybody could be working on something on the card. One person could color in the little leaves, another person can draw it, and the third person can write the values on it. Anyway, when you're done, you're going to have a set of cards, and then you will take those cards, put a rubber band around it, you will add a note about how to play the game for the teacher, and then you will put it in the correct sack. Anyway, I'm proud of you guys. You've done a great job, and I know that your teachers will be excited to get these.